self-paced, no prep for you. It's the homeschool math curriculum I wish I'd started with sooner. Try it free today. Just head to ctcmath.com. That's ctcmath.com. You're going to breathe easier. Trust me.
Welcome to another episode of Not That Hard to Homeschool, the podcast for real people so that you can confidently, competently, and yes, even contentedly provide the high school education that is best for your teens and your family. I'm your host, Lisa Nehring from notthathardtohomeschool.com.
Years. I have 2 graduate degrees, a master's in marriage and family therapy and a master's in human development. I have 5 kids that are now between the ages of 22 and 38, and our 5th grandbaby will be born this summer. I have a black belt in homeschooling. I homeschooled for 30 years. So it was a great time. I loved homeschooling. My kids did, most of them go to college. 4 out of 5 of them have a college degree. And my one daughter has a cosmetology degree. She went to Stewart's Cosmetology School. Best hair cutter I've ever had, and she moved far away, so that makes me sad. But my husband and I have 5 graduate degrees between us, and I say that as a prelude to this whole presentation because I want to give you kind of a setup about how we got to where we're going with True North. So I have the 2 graduate degrees. My husband has a master's in theology and a master's in clinical psych, and then a PhD in clinical psychology. So we have 5 graduate degrees and 5 kids. We've spent most of our adult life involved in education and alternative education, and we love learning. We've really put a lot of faith in the academy. But one thing that we've noticed over the last 5 or so years, really since 2020, is such a huge shift in what's going on in higher education. Now, my oldest daughter, who is 38 at this point, went to a Christian college, and she had kind of our experience at a Christian college, a typical Christian college experience. She met her husband there. She had great academics, etc. And then my youngest daughter, she just graduated from this program that I'm going to tell you about, but she went to a brick and mortar college, a classical university, and then went to a Christian college on the East Coast. And her experience was radically different than our experience or my older daughter's experience. And so we started looking around for alternatives because 2020 really highlighted what's happening with higher education. It's really been happening since 2012. We're now in what's called the 4th Industrial Revolution. And so we're in a time of great societal disruption. You're seeing this in so many different sectors, government, healthcare, and definitely in education. Right now, colleges and universities are closing at a rate of 1 per week. This should be really concerning to all of us because this is how we train up our leaders, right? And if you're noticing what's going on with the Ivy Leagues, there's a lot of real concern happening in the Ivy Leagues. That should concern all of us because that's where the leaders are trained. You can't sit on the Supreme Court bench unless you go to an Ivy League. At least you haven't been able to read, in the last however long America's been around. You're going to have a birthday coming up. You can't write for Saturday Night Live without going to an Ivy, et cetera, et cetera. So the thought leaders of America and really the world are going to the Ivy Leagues. When the Ivy Leagues are in trouble, we're in trouble. So that's my big preface to this whole info meeting. I hope it's really informative and helpful to you guys. We have really put a lot of thought and energy into what are we doing in education at True North, because we have a really clear mission at True North, and that is to inspire parents, equip students, and launch leaders. And we really are committed to that vision. We are really committed to helping your kids be the kind of leaders that they're called to be. We want to give them the academic skills, soft skills, and vocational training that they need to go out into the world and shine light in a world that is growing darker. So that is our mission. We take it very seriously. So this is all about the college dilemma and what to do about it. And I'm glad you guys are here. We have some free resources for you. I'm going to kind of speed by this, but I can come back to the QR code later. And you guys can get a picture of that if you want. I just want to know if you guys would put in the chat if you're worried about any of the following. Providing a great high school program for your kids. Is this something you're worried about, or you feel like you've got this part covered? Are you worried about preparing your kids for the ACT or SAT? I know for us, my husband, he can test better than literally anybody I've ever met. He took the GRE subject test to go from master's to doctoral program, and he got 99% of it, meaning less than 1% of everybody else in the world who took that test scored better than him. Like, he's an amazing test taker. I, on the other hand, am not, and I think my kids got my gene pool in that. So taking the ACT was really stressful for my kids, and they took it multiple times. I think a lot of us are worried in high school about how to make sure our kids get solid academic skills and get the life skills training that they need. It seems like in elementary school and middle school, we're delight directed, we're interest driven. Then we get to high school and we're like, okay, it's getting serious, no more fun. You got to buckle down. You guys have to know how to wash the dishes and write an essay. And, we're going to get through trick. Anybody else feel the pressure to get it all done in high school? That kind of goes along with the delight directed versus interest led. Anyone worried about college debt? Has anybody been following what's happening with college debt right now? We're going to go into that a little bit, but possibly you might be worried about college debt. Are you worried about post-college preparedness? And are there jobs available for your kids? Now, what I do, my job is really following trends in education and higher education and where people are getting jobs, because it doesn't make any sense to train kids for jobs that aren't there, right? So I really take good notice of what's happening with the jobs. And right now, I talked to somebody this week who called me up and said they're really worried about college for their daughter because her husband got an engineering degree and he literally could not get a job. I don't know if they tried to move or not, but they could not get a job in engineering. And so he went into construction. But I also watched a video on YouTube today where somebody was saying that engineers graduating from engineering schools at the state school level, at least, don't know the basics of engineering. They can't take the engineering test to get qualified and certified as an engineer because they're not ready after college. So I think being really concerned, is there a job available for my student and my kid after college? Or even if there is, are they going to be prepared to go into it? Does anybody here worry if college is the right choice, but you're just not really sure what the other path to launch is for your kid? And have you considered trades? We're going to talk about that a little bit. Are you stressed about filling out the FAFSA? It is not my favorite job. I don't know if any of you guys have filled out the FAFSA, but it is like so stressful. It's like taxes 2.0. And are you worried, did you do enough? Is your kid really ready for college? Are you wanting your kids to get into college and earn that degree, but you don't love the idea of the woke ideology of college? We're going to talk about what's going on in colleges and that very idea. No job after college or college delaying entry into the workforce. What about college delaying entry into graduate school? Because many of our kids might have this idea that they do want to go to grad school, but they're going to have to delay their going because most kids are graduating in 6 years, not 4. So they're 24, 25, and 26 before they graduate with an undergraduate degree. If they're going to go to grad school, you've pushed out graduating from grad school to the late 20s or early 30s. So many of us as parents, we have this burning question because we've all been led to believe that we should have our kids go to college. There was this movement called College for All, and it was much like the No Child Left Behind idea that we're going to not leave any kid behind. We're going to make school so good that no kid is going to be left behind. But what happened, instead of our schools getting better and better, is that we just shoved kids through the system. And that's kind of what happened with the College for All idea. When I was graduating from high school, it was just assumed that probably only a third of us that were graduating would go to college. And I went to a very good private Catholic high school in Dayton, Ohio. Is a blue ribbon school. We had kids who went to West Point and MIT from my graduating class. So it was not, it was a really high standard school. And yet only about a third of our kids went on to college because there wasn't this College for All idea. The College for All idea has really watered down college. And it's just thrown kids into a tailspin as far as the debt that they've taken on. We spend our kids' high school career getting them ready to go to college because we believe everybody should go to college. But is that really true? Maybe, maybe not. I also want to ask the question, does the piece of paper, meaning the college degree, really still matter? And I think we need to be thinking about this as parents instead of just assuming that college does matter, absolutely, for everybody, the end. But really start questioning, does that degree really matter? And one question I want you to ask is, does it build your kids' professional and personal identity capital? Now, this is an idea that I got from this book called The Defining Decade by Dr. May J. And I recommend that everybody read it because it is so good. It really talks about the defining decade in the 20s, where your kids are establishing themselves vocationally and familially, and how we can prepare our kids up to their 20s to really have a successful adulthood. Because really what our kids do in their 20s is going to set them up for life. So does the piece of paper still matter? I'm going to talk about what's going on with college really quickly. And this is why I called this the college dilemma, because I still do believe that the piece of paper does matter. But there's so many roadblocks in the way for our kids to earn a degree that makes sense. And the number one thing is expenses. Colleges are crazy expensive right now. College costs have risen literally 20% in 10 years. Now, I went to a small Christian college in Indiana. It cost about $8,000 a year. It was Newsweek called it one of the best college bang for your bucks in the country. That same school costs $38,000 a year right now. So my son applied to it, one of my sons, and he got the best scholarship they gave, and it still left like $20,000 a year. That means in 4 years, if he was able to graduate in 4 years, he would have $80,000 in debt. And he called the school and said, do you not have other scholarships or any other help? And they said, doesn't your mom work? So the idea is that your parents have to cough up the remaining money. Now, we had 5 kids and I stayed home for several years. So we didn't have $20,000 a year per kid times 5 times 4 years laying around. Some people do, we did not. So that wasn't going to work out. But just be aware that college costs have risen 20% in the last 10 years, and they're crazy more expensive than when you went to college. College textbooks have risen 400% in the last 10 years. Now, when I was in college, you would go to the bookstore and you would rent the book. You would probably pay $80 to $100 for your textbook. You would read that book for school. That was what you required materials. You'd read the book. At the end of the semester, you take it back to the bookstore and they would buy it back. Now, most textbooks are electronic. You have to purchase the required materials to get a grade for your class. I've talked to 3 college students that I know, 2 of them work for me, that said they did not even address the textbook one time during the semester, and the other person said they opened it 2 or 3 times. And at the end of the semester, you can't sell it back because it's electronic. So what would have been a $100 textbook is now $400. It's electronic. You can't rent it back or anything. So you're just out that money. 400% for textbooks is a lot of money. In-state colleges on average cost $28,000 per year. Now, multiply that by 4 or 6, we're talking a lot of money. And private colleges average $38,000 to $65,000, up to $80,000 per year. Some of these private schools say, well, we give over $10 million in college scholarships per year. Well, okay, if I'm paying $65,000 a year and I get a $40,000 scholarship, that still leaves $20,000 times 4 or maybe 6. I'm upwards of $80,000 to $120,000 in debt. Okay, so they give a lot of scholarships, not enough to cover it. The United States has $1.1 trillion in student loan debt. And if you think that the United States government is so invested in student loans that they're giving them out because they want to educate a public, think again. The United States makes over $1 billion on student loans every single year. It is crazy. The college for all ideology is literally watered down education on every level. And I want to go back to the college debt for a minute. The student loan companies are deregulated. That means that they can give out loans and no one is holding them accountable. That's what deregulation means. So I'm going to give a quick example. If you want to know more about this, go to Dave Ramsey's website. He's got a video about this very thing. But basically, you can owe $10,000 on student loan debt. You've paid, your $400 a month for 4 years, and then you break your leg and you're in the hospital and you can't work. So you take a forbearance on your loan, completely legal. What they don't tell you is that you're earning interest on the principal every month you don't pay. And you literally might owe more than $10,000 at that end of the year of that forbearance. So you might owe more at the end of a year of forbearance than you started out owing at the beginning, even though you've been paying on it for 3 or 4 years. Now, I hate to say this, but this is not made up. I talk to people all over the country. Every time I give this workshop in person, I have parents coming up to me afterwards saying, you told my story in that workshop. I've been paying on student loan debts for 18 years and I still owe tens of thousands of dollars because I took a forbearance. I didn't know what that meant, et cetera, et cetera. So literally have these conversations with your kids. They have not taken out a loan, most of them, when they go to college. And all of a sudden somebody's going to them, you can take up to $200,000 in student loans. Now, Trump has put a cap on it, thank God, but that cap, $200,000, you could buy a nice house, start a nice business. You can do a lot of things with $200,000. The other thing to really consider is that the colleges are not efficient right now. They're a waste of time. And part of that is deliberate because the longer they can keep your kids in college, the more debt your kids can accrue. Average years of going to get a bachelor's degree is 6 years, not 4. Now, when I was in college, the only people who didn't take 4 years to graduate, anybody who took longer than 6 years, they were doing drugs or they got sick or they dropped out and came back. Everybody else finished in 4 years. But right now they cycle the classes so that sometimes it's hard to get done in 6 years or 4 years. And that I think is kind of deliberate because the longer you're there, the more money they can make. The average debt for undergrad is $37,000 in debt. If your student falls in love with somebody else with $37,000 in debt, they're 24, 25, 26, they've got $72,000 in debt. That's a lot of debt. It also means late entry to the job market. If they're not graduating until 25 versus somebody who went to work at 18, they've lost a half a decade of wages. Now, that defining decade does talk about that a little bit. So these are great conversations to have with your kids. 25% of all college freshmen attend remediation classes. This is also by design. Remediation classes are a billion-dollar industry. And what that means is if your kids don't score a certain score on the ACT or SAT, or they don't have certain grades going into college, they have to take a remediation class. That class costs college money, but they don't get college credit for it. 25% of all college freshmen attend those classes. And again, it's a billion-dollar industry. The dual enrollment AP and CLEP tests are no guarantee of transferability. I get told this all the time. I hear stories about it everywhere I go talking about this, is that, their kids took 5 AP classes or they took some DE and then went to a private school, or they CLEP 20 classes and then they transferred and only 2 of them transferred, or the credits transferred but not the class. So now they have all these electives, but they don't have any of their gen eds done. And over half of college freshmen do not graduate. The reason over half of college freshmen do not graduate is because they drop out. So I just want parents to think about the fact that most of us are spending high school getting our kids college ready, for over half of them to drop out. And because we haven't had conversations with them or talked about them with them about other ideas or other pathways, they come back and live with us. And generally they don't know what to do next. They're kind of in this no man's land. The other thing I want to talk to you about is the ideologies that's going on in colleges right now. Colleges are liberal, not a little liberal. Colleges are crazy left liberal. 70% of evangelical kids entering college will renounce their faith by Thanksgiving of their freshman year, just weeks after leaving their home. What's even more tragic, in my opinion, is 80% of them never return to the Christian faith. This is from Barna Research. So these are not stats I'm making up. Now, as Christian homeschool parents, one of the things I really want to share with other Christian moms and dads is that we've spent all these years getting our kids ready to go out and be the light in the world. And then they're going to a college where they're just inundated with anti-Christian thought and ideas. And most of them are falling. They're falling to the world. And I don't necessarily think it has to do with how weak our kids are. I think it has to do with how vulnerable and alone our kids are. And so we need to really be careful when we send our kids to college that they have a cohort, that they have people, that they have a church, that they have other Christians praying and believing with them. Because if they're alone, there's a lot of wolves out there preying on our kids. And when your kid's 18 or 19, they're still a kid. As someone with adult children, we send our kids out thinking they're going to be fine because we raised them well. And really, there's so much pressure on them. Plus cell phones. We are not the number one influence in our kids' lives if they have any kind of social media or a cell phone. We're third on that list. And the only reason we make the third is because that includes all family members. But social media is definitely first and their friends are second. So In 2012, Christianity Today published an article called The American Brothel System about how sexualized college campuses are, and that's really compromised our kids academically, vocationally, and spiritually. I don't think that's true so much anymore. Right now, there's almost like an asexual attitude on college campuses, partly because of the prevalence of pornography, honestly, and because there's this big rift between young men and young women. Young men are becoming more conservative, young women are becoming far more liberal, and they're not talking to each other because they don't have a worldview that's similar. Also, statistically, most college professors are far more left-leaning than most Americans. So say we're down the middle and, we're kind of like, I would say most Americans are like, we want to have a conversation. Like we might not agree with everything on your side or my side, but we want to have a conversation about it. Left-leaning or most college professors are to the left, but way down that line. They're not just a little bit more left, they are radically more left, and they use their college classes to promote their left-leaning ideology. I've just added this slide this convention season because this is really a problem. Students' mental health has suffered radically since 2020. A lot of kids go to college without any mental health issues, and 65% of them report serious mental health issues. Like when I say serious, I mean like bipolar. I mean like borderline personality disorder. I mean like hospitalization kind of things, suicidal ideation, et cetera, et cetera. But they don't go to college with those ideas. So something's happening in the college experience that creates that. There's increased incidence of bullying. The problem with it being reported by Christians and Jews, people of faith that we might relate to, is they don't report a lot of it because they're afraid they'll be bullied even further. There's a lot of self-censorship going on in college. Now, when I went to college, we were there to learn how to think and to debate well and to argue our point and to persuade. But now, increasingly, a significant number of students feel uncomfortable expressing their views on controversial topics because there's this idea of what is okay on college campuses and what is not, and they don't want to be bullied. And there's also a notable decline in students' confidence that free speech is secure. Post-pandemic, also, most universities have adopted a hybrid model. I had a good friend that packed their kid up last year to go to Arizona. They got down there, they took a family vacation, got her set up in her dorm room, and she called a couple days later and said all of her classes were online, 100%. She could have taken her classes from South Dakota. But what happened is during the pandemic, is a lot of universities realized how much money they could save by doing classes online, so they've kept that model. So many of us have grown up thinking there's one way to earn a degree and that we should just focus on college because that's what the smart people do. There's really a rat race in high school to get into college. We do AP, we do honors, we do DE, we do CLEP. We have our kids take the ACT and SAT. We suffer through the FAFSA. We go on college visits and we try to develop our kids' standout factor. But what if instead of all of that, you could put that energy towards completing a degree, or you could put that energy towards a 2-year trades transcript where kids can graduate from high school in 2 years. That allows them to go on so that instead of degree ready, they're trades ready or degree done. And that's part of the program that we've developed at True North. But I want to talk about trades really quickly because trades are increasingly in the problem area in America. And I'm going to tell you what's going on. There's a super high demand for tradesmen. Many skilled workers are retiring and they're creating a lot of job openings. And a lot of trades start with really good pay, $18 to $30 an hour with great earning potential down the road. Most of these kids who go into trade have no college debt. Trading is often much cheaper than college, and many apprenticeships are many apprenticeships are paid. We have a young friend in New Mexico, and he's getting his associate's degree paid for while he earns $40 an hour, and he has a truck, and he's 21, and he bought a house, and he's getting a degree and he's getting training paid for because there's such a shortage in trades. It's hands-on work, so it's ideal for people who enjoy building, fixing, moving, and working with their hands. And there's a ton of entrepreneurship potential. Many tradespeople go on to start their own business, offering flexibility and growth. How severe is the trade shortage? Pretty darn severe. As of 23 and 24, 7 million skilled trade jobs are available, waiting for somebody to fill them. And there's an expected shortfall of over 2 million more workers by 2030. The construction sector alone faces a shortage of roughly over 500,000 workers by 2029 and 2030. But I would say it's, for some skilled trades, it's going to be even higher. Like with AI, electricians, they're going to be able to name their price because everybody wants to use AI, but there's nobody working on the electrical fields to make that happen. Industry leaders report that up to 80% of contractors struggle to find qualified candidates, even for entry-level craft roles. And I've heard this over and over and over. Finding somebody who will show up on time, who knows how to answer a phone, who isn't on Facebook or coming to work smelling a weed or whatever, this is really hard right now. It's a national crisis, honestly, that a lot of our 20-year-old young men are deciding not to go to work. And they're basically living with their parents, they're not dating, and they're not going to work. All that to say, the jobs gap is expected to grow further, with estimates suggesting a need for 1.4 million new skilled trade workers annually just to keep up with the demand. So what is the industry's specific demand? Electricians projected 6 to 10% growth through 2030-32, with 49,000 new jobs anticipated by 2032. HVAC, a rise of 5 to 6 by 2030, and welders, 50,000 unfilled positions with another 500,000 openings by 2024. I mean, welder sounds like the place to go. Key drivers behind this shortage: aging workforce. The boomers are retiring. And so all those HVAC workers who started their own HVAC company, not only are they not doing the HVAC themselves, but their companies are just ending as they retire too. We have two friends who just retired in the last couple months, and they both just closed down their businesses. They didn't sell it because they can't find workers in their industries, and they're both blue-collar industries. There's also stigma and educational barriers. A lot of people feel like if you're a blue-collar tradesman, you really aren't that smart. And the reality is that is just not true. So there's some stigma around blue-collar workers. And people think that there's economic and policy factors, which of course there are. The unions are in the trades for sure, and people think they can't make as much money doing trades. But I'll tell you what, if you can make $30 an hour with no debt versus $20 an hour with tens of thousands of dollars of debt, someone is making more money. Plus, they've been in the workforce for probably a half a decade longer. Why does this matter with the trades? There's high risk segments: electrical, welding, HVAC, plumbing, and carpentry. And a lot of these areas are really being affected. The shortage is not just a pipeline issue. It's about long-term skills, perception, and systemic barriers that we really can overcome. So as infrastructure and green energy projects accelerate, the demand is only going to intensify for tradespeople. So what if your kids could earn a 4-year bachelor's degree in high school, degree done, or a 2-year high school diploma that allows your students to be trades ready, or even better, a program that allows for both? And that is what we're proposing at True North. Now, before I explain the program a little bit more, I want to talk about the difference between dual credit versus dual degree. Because dual credit is you go to a college or university and you take one class and you have that credit is banked and you can transfer it to another college. If they'll accept it or not is always, up for debate. But a dual degree is students complete a class with True North, they take a college test, and then they earn a college degree credit. That credit is banked, and when they complete 120 college credits, they actually earn a college degree. So it's a little bit different than a dual credit program. Students earn credits by classes completed. With the dual credit and with the dual degree, students are earning college credit for the work they're completing in partnership with certain accredited universities that we're working with. So imagine with the dual degree program, your kids could graduate at 18 with an accredited high school diploma and an accredited bachelor's degree from a WASC accredited college or university with no debt, no stress. They could be trades ready if they do the trades transcript. They can go on to buy a house, start a business, start a family. The future looks bright. Without a dual degree or trades ready degree, they spend high school taking AP honors CLEP exams. They take the ACT and SAT maybe multiple times. You're filling out the FAFSA. See, I can't even spell it. Just thinking about it stresses me out. They apply to scholarships and grants and hope they get in. They're visiting the college. They start the college, and half of them are going to drop out without a completed degree, or they're going to complete their degree at 25 with big debt. And the future does look uncertain. Now, that's not everybody. There are ways to go to college without debt for sure. but it's either time or money. And so some of those take a lot of time to get really sorted out. The program that we offer is perfect for a student who is atypical or neurodivergent, medically fragile, gifted and talented, entrepreneurial or creative, who is already working. We have a couple kids in the program who already have jobs because they started them. They're goal driven, they're debt averse, or they want to go to graduate school at 20 instead of 28 or 30. They're autodidacts, they're homeschoolers, and they're hands-on kids who are sick of school. I talked to so many moms in the last 2 weeks who were like, they start the conversation with, my son is really smart, but so sick of school. Because I think a lot of the kids that are in a typical high school program, even with homeschooling, they don't see the point of some of the classes that they're taking, and they don't have a big picture that they're really going for. With our trades program that we put together, they can get out of high school in 2 years with academic life and trade skills and go on to the next thing. So that's the program I'm talking about right now. They can earn 22 high school credits from 2 to 4 years. If they want to do it in a fast track, it's 2 years and a summer. Rock solid academics. We're incorporating life and soft skills development, and it's trade ready. And by that, I mean they're taking classes that a trade school is going to look for and want. Now, if they want to do the dual degree, they're going to earn 120 college credits while they're earning their high school diploma, and they can apply that high school trades degree to the college degree. So twofer, really 3 at once. At True North, we do support and guidance the entire way through. So you can really escape the college crisis and hack higher education. How to hack like a pro, earn a 4-year college degree while still in high school. You learn once, earn twice. You can graduate faster, skip the unnecessary fluff, and really focus on what actually matters for the future. You can save tens of thousands of dollars in tuition. Our dual degree program costs less than what our private school in South Dakota costs for high school per year. And you can use your 529 or ESA dollars. You can earn a high school diploma and a college degree at the same time. So why pay for extra years of school when you can cut costs dramatically? You can literally gain a head start in your career. You can get a college degree and a high school diploma at the same time. So next steps, you can give us a call and ask for an advising program. I can answer any questions that you have right now. We have a couple of videos. One is this kind of thing, and then the second video is FAQs that you might be interested in. And so we would love to talk to you about either one of these programs. The trades program is a 2-year program. We plan to work with trade schools and people who are taking apprentices to help our kids get apprenticeships while they're getting the program done. But for those who want to do the trades program and the college degree at the same time, that is a winning combo, and I'll tell you why. One of my son-in-laws is a mechanic, and he's very, very good. He won the Skills USA scholarship, so he did his 2-year college program paid for by Skills USA. And he is a car painter by trade, but he's also a mechanic. And he's 34 at this point, and he doesn't have a bachelor's degree, and he really regrets that, because doing the trades, it's a great way to make money. He has made phenomenal money. Anytime there's a hail or hurricane damage, he's out there painting cars, and it's good money. But it's also hard on your body. And if he had a bachelor's degree, he could actually go into management. Back to, does the piece of paper still matter? Yeah, it does, because a lot of places, even though they're not saying you got this amazing training getting your bachelor's degree, but it's kind of like a qualifier, right? Like it says, okay, you did finish a bachelor's degree, you're going to be management person, and this person without it isn't. And so that's kind of holding them up right now. So I do think the piece of paper still matters whether you go into the trades or not. But our dual degree program, the kids, it's a phenomenal program. I can go into more details if you guys want to know more about how the program is set up, but I'm happy to take any questions or any concerns or thoughts that you guys have so far. Would love to hear from you guys. And I just talked really fast and gave you a ton of information. So yeah, go ahead.
Hi, this is Steven. I'm Amelia's father. I had a quick question just regarding the classes. So the universities that you partner with, the classes that they're enrolling in that get the college credits, are they instructed by the college themselves, or they're instructed by True North and then that college just gives them the credit?
Yeah. That's a great question. So what the colleges have done is they've approved our classes, and I'll tell you really quickly how the dual degree program is set up. So the kids are taking 10 classes per calendar year. So August through July or January through December, depending on when they enroll in the program. And so they generally take 6 live classes per year and 4 self-paced. Most of the kids are doing the 6 live classes during our live program. So really it would be a traditional school year of 30 weeks. They take the live classes and then they're doing self-paced classes in the summer. Some of them are doing them during the school year because they're realizing that it's very doable. So they take the live class with us. We've modified the classes to make sure that we're meeting the college requirements. When they're done with those classes, they go to a private college portal that we've set up. There's a study guide for each class, and then there's a 50 question test for each class. Once they pass that test, that credit is banked, and when they have 120, then they get the college degree and their transcript from the partner school. So at the end of it, they'll have earned a high school diploma from True North, which is Cognia accredited, and they'll earn the degree and get the transcript and diploma from a WASC accredited college or university.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, the course is taught by True North.
Yes.
The test is taken through the university.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Thank you.
The study guide is set up so that it's practically foolproof. If the kids do the class and do the study guide, they will pass the test. If they don't pass the test, they can retake it for a small fee. They can take it a couple of different times, so it's not like a one and done program. If they don't pass it, they can retake the test. But honestly, if they do the class and do the materials and do the study guide, they're going to be really well set up to take the test. And just most of our kids who took it this year got like over 90% on all the tests that they took. The only classes they don't take tests for are the Comp 1 and 2 class and another business writing class, and those they submit their papers for, and those are graded by the college professors. So that's a great question. Yeah. So I'll just go into the program really quickly. The 2-year trades program, we are making sure that the kids are getting 4 credits of English. They're getting 2 credits of math and science and history, but they do graduate with 22 credits. And we've tweaked the program so there's some really fun and interesting classes as well. They can do things like audio and video editing. We've got tools for trades in there. They're doing writing classes that are going to help set them up for business professionalism, et cetera. You can segue that into the dual degree program. The dual degree program, in order to earn the degree, there's 3 components to the program. So there's a gen ed section where it's things like math, science, history, humanities, et cetera. And then there's the degree portion. And then finally, there are electives. So during the degree portion, like if they're doing business admin, they're going to take business classes, Excel spreadsheets, and things like that. Electives can be things like audio and video editing. It can be baking and cooking. It's usually really good information and new information, but it's not really academically as rigorous as the live classes necessarily, which is kind of what makes the program really doable to get 10 classes done in the amount of time that the kids have. I think at this point, most of the kids have started the program taking the 10 classes. We did have somebody start in January who started with 5 classes, and that's fine. It is a 4-year program, and we do have students starting in 10th, 11th, and we even had a 12th grader starting the program. Now, the way that works is if you have classes you've already taken, I can see about the transferability of those classes, and it's just it's a smaller fee for those transfer classes than it would be for the classes that you take at True North. But we do absolutely have older kids in the program. And if the kids need an extra year or 2 to graduate, they only pay they only pay for the classes that they're taking. And secondly, there's no end date. From our point of view, those credits are banked, so they don't have to finish in a certain amount of time or everything's lost, as long as they're doing it. And, we have the kiddo who started as a senior, he's doing a super senior year. But we have 2 kids who started as juniors, and they're going to be done the December after when they would regularly have graduated from high school with their college diploma too. So it's completely doable to start a little bit later and finish in 4 years if you wanted to. This depends on what other things the kids have going on. Some of our kids are working to help pay for the program. We've got some athletes and business owners in the program. So they're a little bit busy, but it's very doable to get it done, within a really reasonable amount of time. Great question. So the classes, we do have the classes listed on the website. I don't have all of them coded on the website because it's been very confusing to families when they go look at the website. They're like, oh, I want to just sign up for dual credit. And again, it's not necessarily a dual credit class. It's a dual degree program. But yeah, I'd be happy to talk with you, Audrey, if you want to just kind of go over the classes that we do offer and what that looks like. And yeah, Spanish would work for the degree program. So we do have Spanish and Hebrew approved. We offer 7 foreign languages at True North, but we only have those 2 foreign languages approved for the dual degree at this point. But all the classes that we offer are at the True North Academy website. And the easiest way to see them, honestly, is the simplified list. The simplified list actually just lists them all in an Excel spreadsheet. And let me go over to the website. I can share my screen and show you exactly where to find it. Give me just a second. We had tech issues this year where our 2 main computers in the house died. And so we're using the old cranky computers. Give me a second. So if you go to the website at truenorthhomeschool.academy, you can see here is the website. And then across the top menu, I'm just going to reduce that. You can see shop, you can see academic programs, academic services, and about. If you go to shop, you can go to the 2025 quick catalog. Just click on that. And then the first thing you're going to see is our calendar, but just look at the tabs across the bottom. You can see the block schedule for 25-26. And this just lists everything by our block schedule. We do everything on this block schedule. There's 15 minutes between each class. We do have bundles and programs and services. That's all listed here. And it tells you all about everything you ever want to know about it. Then it lists our self-paced. We have several other self-paced classes we need to get in here. But now if you keep scrolling over, now here we come to our live classes. So this is social sciences. This is the name of the class with a hyperlink. So you can literally click on that and go to the class. Here's a quick description, who teaches it, the day and time. So if you just go to American History with Film and click on it, you're going to get a lot more details about this class. So it's going to tell you the name of the class, how much it costs. You can click on customer reviews there and see what other people are saying. And over here is FAQ list. You can see a video of the teachers here. Angie does a great job explaining this class. And then if you scroll down, here's additional information. There's a really detailed description of the class. And then additional information about the class. And there's 2 sections of this one. And then you can go to reviews. This is one of our, the classes that everybody loves. And so there's some great reviews on here. So that's a really great way to check out what all the classes are. And then you can go to the bundles. You can go to self-paced classes, junior high, high school, middle school, the academic programs. You can go to the dual degree page right here. It's going to give you a lot more details about what's going on with the dual degree. There's a video here. This is the FAQ video, I think. And then there's how it compares to other programs and who it's for and all the things. Benefits of dual degree, the different classes that we offer, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can also look at the trades program, which is right here. And this is a very detailed page as well, where it's going to go into what the program is all about. It's kind of a crazy price. It's $12,000 for 2 years for a high school diploma. Why go into trades, the curriculum snapshot, et cetera, et cetera. So tons of information on the website, who it's good for, best fit student, you can reserve your spot, the whole thing. And then we do have a Core 4 program, which is like math, science, English, history. Love that program. You also get the academic advising, and you get the performance series test with that too. And then you can take if you go to the about page, You can take a tour of our virtual campus, which is a very robust virtual campus. Beth Purcell, who is our humanities director, did this quick tour. So you can click on here and you can see everything there is to see about our LMS, which is very robust. It really is truly a virtual campus. I'll just show you real quick. So here's kind of a what it looks like. I mean, I'm not going to be able to show you very much unless we just watch the whole thing, but anyway, go click on it and see how amazing the virtual campus is, because it really is part of what makes True North so unique. Is we've really invested in this LMS that is a virtual campus. So there's resources, there's news, the kids have classes, there's a parent and student dashboard on there, and you can connect with the teachers anytime through there. And there's a lot of great information about the classes in there. So which trades are going to be supported by the Tech and Trades program? That is really a great question. We are really hoping, we're doing kind of a general trades, but we're working with people in the trades to make sure that it is going to hit electricity, HVAC, and there was, Gina, can you jump in here if you remember? There was one more that was.
Sorry, which ones did you name?
HVAC and electrician.
Okay, so is it somebody asking? I'm sorry, I'm cleaning out my office.
No.
While we're talking, so.
Yeah, which trades are going to be supported by the Tech and Trades program? It's going to be, go ahead.
Okay, so the trades program after the first year, where they get that core grouping of classes and skill sets, which would be like about the equivalent of year one of apprenticeship, then they can specialize. And when they work with their with the advising team to pair them up with people in those trades, there's a million trades option because we're connecting them. So it could be HVAC, electrical, plumbing. It's really, the list, when you say electrician, there's like 10 different types of electricians. So once they have the pairing up, they can investigate what type of.
Yeah. So she's wondering if an auto mechanic might be included. And our goal is absolutely to find people that the kids can connect with and really get that apprenticeship kind of opportunity. And we can actually notate in the self-paced classes, which are dual degree eligible. I thought we did have that, but maybe not, Danielle. And we've added more. We have more coming still. So we'll have at least 4 more coming in the next couple weeks. So yeah, thanks, Gina.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, great question. Any other specific questions or anything you want to know about the trades program or the dual degree program? Our goal is to make the trades program easily. You finish the program and you can definitely just complete the dual degree at the same time if you want to. It'll take a couple more years. I don't think we can get you through a trades apprenticeship program and a dual degree in 2 years, but we can definitely do it in 4. And we're super excited about this because we've been hearing from more and more of our families. It's part of why we've really gone into this, that they don't want to go to college, but they need a path forward for their kids. And we think that this is going to be a great opportunity and option for the kids. The dual degree program, I had this question today. I've had several dual degree advising appointments. Somebody asked how long True North has been around. We have been offering live online classes since 2018. So I went back to work after 20 some years of homeschooling, and I still had 2 kids at home. I was homeschooling. My husband had a health crisis, and life throws you lemons and you just figure out how you're going to make that work. And so we did some online classes, and some of them were okay, but some of them were absolutely horrible. So I decided in 2018, I had the opportunity to quit my professional job. And so I started True North in 2018. And we've had great growth ever since. We were international within the first year, which cracks me up because I didn't even consider that we ever would be, but we have an amazing international community. We have teachers from coast to coast in the United States, as well as Mexico, Italy, and Israel. And we have developed our programs over the years. So we have just been offering the dual degree program since last year. We had a small cohort start with us in the fall of 24-25. We have, we're almost double the group that we started with last year, and the trades program we're just launching right now. We are able to connect we are absolutely hoping that we can provide trade opportunities in Hawaii. Yep. And explain the connecting part of the trades program. Well, we are working with people who are managers in trades who are like, actually, Gina, do you want to tell this story or should I tell this story?
I can tell.
Okay.
Just because I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah,
but
we're excited. We're so excited.
There are two programs plus trade unions. So we actually have three programs. And what we are is like a conduit. So we provide, my husband is actually a project manager for an electrical mechanical company in Indianapolis. And he has just kind of like looked over our shoulder and given us some advice based on their apprenticeship program that they did within their company. And they just couldn't get enough kids in their pipeline to do anything with that. And so that's been part of our passion, is helping other organizations like this have the access to the kids. Well, not just access, but we wanted to know that the kids could reason, write. These weren't just, there are true north kids. I don't know how else to say that, but how the connection part works is if you took our core classes, the first year of your apprenticeship, it would equate to be the first year of apprenticeship in any trades is all the same. You're learning tool identification, just very basic information that surprisingly most kids don't know, or most people don't know. I'm going to shut this door. I'm sorry. After that first year apprenticeship, that is when the kids kind of hone in on the type of trade they want to connect with. And then, like I said, we have companies, we have the trade unions, and then we have like Skills USA and other organizations that have pipelines of people that will mentor the kids. Think of mentoring and making the connection into a apprenticeship program. And there are a lot of different apprenticeship programs available. So it's all about advising and helping kids get that right fit.
And we'll definitely have an advisor for this program that is specific to the trades program that can really focus in on it. We've had companies already ask us if we have kids that could go into their apprenticeship program. And so we want to make sure that the companies are vetted just as much as the kids, because we want to make sure our kids are safe. But absolutely, we plan on making sure that the kids can connect. Thank you, Gina. So if a junior wanted to do the dual degree program, and she finishes high school, could she transfer credits or finish at the cooperating college? She can, yeah. So Christina, I would love to talk to you about that. Like if you wanted to send me what classes she's already completed, and those, I can tell you which classes fit into the program and which don't. But yeah, she could probably do that, just depending on how many college credits are transferable at this point. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, wow, great questions, you guys. Anything else, any other questions you have about either program? We're super excited about the dual degree program because I'll be honest, my youngest daughter finished the program through this program because she went to 2 brick and mortar schools, and the academics weren't really solid anymore. There was so much woke ideology, even at these Christian schools. Anyway, it just was a better fit. And she just felt like academically it was so expensive for the amount of training she got. She really came to me at one point and said, I literally learned more about writing in junior high than I've learned in my Comp 1 or 2 class. And that just broke my heart because I loved college. It was a great experience. I met my husband there, made lifelong friends from my college experience. That definitely wasn't her experience. And my middle son, it was not his experience either. My son in between, so my 4th kiddo went to a very small classical school, and my daughter went there for 1 year, but guess what? It closed. And so thank goodness my son had graduated, because we had another friend in that program too, and her credits did not transfer, even though the college said, we've partnered with this other school and they're going to accept all your credits and classes, but they did not. So she ended up adding another entire year to get her bachelor's degree because even though they'd made a partnership deal with this closing school, they didn't accept all of her credits and classes. And again, one college and university is closing every single week in America. So if you are getting your kids college ready, ask to see their financials and what their endowment looks like because the baby boom is over. There's just not the number of warm bodies. And I hate to even say this, but a lot of our kids, our young kids, have been aborted. So there are just literally not the people to go to college. And a lot more women than men are going to college at this point, graduating. So it's a crisis what's going on in the college campuses. So we really believe that this is offering solid academics to our kids. Academics are kind of like where my family lives. It's like I said, my husband and I are a little bit nerdy and have way too many degrees. We love education. We're autodidacts. We want to equip our students with real academic skills as well as life skills and soft skills. I read something a couple weeks ago that said, as we become more technical, what is the number one skill our kids need to have? And that is we need to develop their humanity. One of the best ways to develop their humanity is to look at them as whole people and not just say, well, you need to develop academic skills. Well, they need to have soft skills too. And that's part of how our program is set up at True North. And then this trades program is really, we're super excited about that too. And we believe that we can marry the two to have just a phenomenal program for our kids where they have academic skills, they have the workforce internships and experience, and they have that trades training. They are going to be unstoppable because really the kids who can pivot quickly are going to survive and thrive in this fourth industrial revolution. I think science is changing every industry radically. AI, we see this all the time. They've 3D printed a liver and transplanted it into a human, and that person did not reject the 3D printed organ from biomatter, whatever that means. I don't want to look too deeply into that, but there's some crazy things happening in science and it's not going to slow down. So our kids need to know how to pivot really quickly. They need to know how to learn on their own without formal education. And I do think the piece of paper still matters. So this is a way to give them those skills and those abilities and internships and help them launch really well without a lot of debt. Because the debt, again, because of the deregulation of the student loans, is just going to be a millstone around their neck. And I really don't want that for any of our kids. I talked to a family a couple weeks ago at GHC in Texas, and they said that he graduated with an engineering degree. He owed like 45,000, but it ballooned up to like 85. And then thankfully during COVID, there was a loan forgiveness program specifically for his type of engineering. So the rest of his loans were forgiven, or he said he'd probably be paying on them till the day he died. And, we go into these fields thinking, okay, we're going to get an engineering degree or a medical degree or whatever, and we're going to make so much money, it won't matter. But if you have any kids or buy a house or take a forbearance, it's going to matter. And having any debt at all is a liability versus no debt. So that is part of also our passion for these programs, is that we really want to equip the kids well with as little debt as possible. So I'm happy to take more questions. If you guys have general advising questions, I love talking about high school stuff too. So let me know, and I'll wait around for a couple more minutes. But you guys, I just really appreciate your spending your evening, at least a part of your evening with us. I see some really super familiar names. I'm so glad you guys are here, and I just appreciate your listening to our program, and would love to schedule an advising session with any of you who need it or want it. We do free advising, 15-minute advising all the time. And if you want to do a full dual degree advising, if your kids have earned high school credit already, just shoot those classes and credits over to me and we can schedule an advising appointment. So, okay, you guys, I'll wait a few more minutes. Yeah, thank you guys so much. You can just let me know if you want to just stay on. We can set up an appointment right now. If you have a few minutes. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thanks for being here. Yeah, and Gina just dropped the link. Yeah, thanks, Gina. By the way, Audrey, my grandma's name was Audrey. I just love that name. You don't hear it too much anymore, but it's such a great name. Yeah, if you just go to the website and click on that, you can set up, if there's no cost to it, you just click on it and put in the information and you'll get a call and we'll set up an appointment with you. Yeah, thanks. Yep, I will, as long as you, yeah, you had to register, you had to register and we'll send the recording out to everybody who registered. Sarah, thanks for asking. I know Aubrey is a lot more common than Audrey right now. Yeah. But yeah, Gina does a great job sending everything out. So good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye, everybody.